What's good? It's your girl Inkiee.Priestess, and thank you so much for joining me for our very first episode of This Ain't Therapy, but it feels like it, a podcast. Woo, 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 woo. And this is where we regulate our nervous systems together, but it ain't no slander, it ain't no mean shit, it ain't no bad energy. We just hold in good space. So today's episode is probably going to be one of the most personal episodes to me. And let's keep in mind that we're growing together, y'all. This is my healing diary too. I'm healing with you guys just the same. So I hope that this episode finds the right people that is maybe going through something similar, or maybe somebody that just needs somebody to hold healthy space for them. I got your back. Today's episode it's about finding the silver lining in grief. Finding the silver lining in grief is probably one of the hardest experiences that I've ever had, especially considering that. Oh my God. For those of you who don't know, my mother passed away back in January of 2024. That was one of the hardest chapters of my life, needless to say, because everything changed. After my mom passed away, all of my family, my friends, all of my stable things in life began to disappear and dwindle one by one. And it felt like life as I know it literally had gotten like swept up from up under my feet. And my matriarch was no longer here to guide me in what to do and how to do it and how to walk and how to talk. And now the time has came for it's kind of like me to integrate with all of the wisdom that she's lent me over all of the years that we've had with one another. And when she passed away, I fell. I fell. I fell, cousins, and I fell hard. On top of having to be a mom and having to heal, having to figure out how to walk and talk again, it was probably one of the hardest things that I have ever been through. But let me tell you what I've learned, cousin. Let me tell you what I've learned. Since my mom's passing away, I realized that the universe has a very interesting way of making us reset and reform, right? And my mom's passing heavily symbolized me coming into my full form because I didn't have her hand to lean back on anymore. I didn't have her safety, her advice, or her coverage anymore, or at least in the physical. And after her passing, I had no choice but to become my own safety net. And that was hard. I built that shit brick by brick. Wow, I did. That was hard. I had to learn how to be my own safety net when I didn't even know that I didn't trust myself outside of my mom. I didn't know how I was going to keep going. I didn't know how I was going to have confidence to push on without her being that subtle voice in my ear telling me that she's holding it down too. And with her passing, it forced me to find myself. And in her passing, it made me explore my depths. But also, when I tell you I question everything about her in all of the most beautiful ways. It makes me question if I ever knew her. Because now that she is no more, and, I'm just here with her lessons and with her wisdom, I recognize that I think that she was everything that she always needed to be for the people around her. But I don't know that she ever really continuously honored her own emotions, her feelings, or the experience that she was having. And sometimes I wonder if she would do things a little bit differently given the opportunity. I learned heavily from her. I learned what to do, but I learned what not to do as well. And don't get me wrong, my mother was the best, honey. Like, she was the most amazing woman I've ever met in my life because she was so selfless, so non-self-centered. She was the glue for everything and everybody, to say the very least. And I recognized that in her passing, nobody was really holding her together. Nobody was really, I know that she may not regret the sacrifices that she's made over time for her family and for the people that she's loved, but I do think that she would have advocated for herself a bit differently. So I sat with that. And what I've learned in her passing is it was the hard reset that I needed to be everything that she knew that I can be, and that she knew that I can be before I knew that I can be it. And It's time. It's time to anchor all of that wisdom and light into the world and share it so that other people can have love and light and share it with their children and their families and things like that. I say all of that to say grief is a biatch. It is. But there's always wisdom in it. There's always wisdom in having to let go. There's always wisdom in having to restart when you have to let go of your matriarchs or your patriarchs and you become the matriarch and the patriarch through what it is that you learn. And you get to create a safer foundation for the generations to come by way of how you've built on the wisdom and the love of your ancestors. In my mom's passing, I have worked harder than I've ever worked in my life. I hug myself more than I've ever hugged myself. I listen to myself in the same ways that she used to listen to me. And I advocate for myself. I advocate for myself in the same ways that I remember her advocating for me. It's almost as if her voice echoes in the back of my mind, telling me that it's time, telling me to keep going, telling me not to hurt him too bad. And I appreciate that. That's how I'm able to move forward with knowing that everything that comes to pass as it should. Not as we want it to, not when we're ready, not ever on our terms, but exactly as it should. And when you lose your loved ones, whether they transition into the light or whether they're just not around anymore for this chapter of your life, it gives you opportunity to stand up in your light, to stand up in your wisdom, and to recreate yourself with what you know now, but with more love for yourself, more honor for the experience, more compassion for yourself, and more understanding of the wisdom that this circumstance or this situation or this chapter was supposed to teach you. But allow yourself to go through your experiences, go through your feelings, but not fall so far into victim consciousness where you forfeit your life. Grief is ugly.
Yeah, grief the only motherfucker that I feel like can really beat my ass. I'm serious.
And some days she's heavy and some days she's not. Take your time, go through it and not around it, and know that you are divinely favored, especially when the healing taps you on your shoulder. Especially when the healing says, okay, let's go through this and not around this. Let's finally begin to mend the hole in our heart. Because if you look at the alchemy of energy, right? Energy and our external reality is a reflection of us and how we perceive our reality and how we feel about ourselves and our experience. So when spirit says, hey, it's time to heal, it's time to heal that grief, it's time to heal that abandonment wound, it's because it's time for you to change what you see on the outside. It's time for you to integrate. It's time for you to validate yourself. It's time for you to show up and give yourself permission to stand in the light, right? And it's not easy. And if it's one thing that I've learned, it's that, baby, happiness is not a prerequisite of the human experience. One thing about it, two things for sure. Happiness is something that you have to find and obtain for yourself. And if you don't find it, if you don't create it, if you don't wedge your avenue for it, it may never happen. Nobody is guaranteeing you happiness. You're here to learn. This is Earth School. So you need to be strong and you need to be diligent with forward motion, knowing that you are divinely favored and that you are your ancestors' wildest dreams, and that the wisdom and the healing don't choose everybody. Okay? So it's time for you to get into a position of power within yourself and not allow grief or your past to steal your future. And also, within regards to grief, if you look closely, if you're able to shift your perception from lack, you can follow the signs and synchronicities that shows you that they are with you and helping you, damn near like unfolding your reality for you right in front of you. So you're never alone. Energy can never be created nor destroyed. The energy just changes form. And that's okay. Change form with it. But you are divinely favored. And more often than not, when we have to let go, when we go through grief, whether of a parent, a sibling, a family member, a friend, a child, it will always symbolize life before them and then life once they departed. But you get to decide what this new chapter of your life looks like. And if you love your dead, you'll make it beautiful. You'll honor them. You'll honor their wisdom. You'll honor what they taught you. If you're dealing with someone who is just no longer around because life has pulled you guys in two different directions, honor the wisdom, honor the contract, honor the exchange that you had while you had it, because all things that happens comes to pass in divine timing, even if it's a chapter opening or a chapter closing. Be able to shift your perception away from the lack consciousness and victim consciousness that tells you that you're not lovable or that you can't have good things, because it couldn't be further from the truth. Sometimes we have to go through certain chapters alone. Alone, maybe, but even then, being alone is completely, I feel like it's more perspective driven. I think it's a lot more perspective driven because you may not have much physical family, friends, and things like that, but your spiritual family don't play about you. Your earth side family may not be shit at all, but your spiritual family don't play about you. So I challenge you to challenge certain concepts that you choose to maneuver through your experience with. Concepts that mirror self hatred, lack, sadness, and further perpetuates negative feelings that you're having about your experiences already. I challenge you to shift the narrative because you can. I challenge you to change the narrative because you can. Because happiness is not a prerequisite to the human experience, and we got to go find that shit for ourselves. Ain't nobody gonna do it for you. Not your mate, not your children, not your boss. It has to come from you. And we also have to keep in mind that your ancestors chose for it to be you for a reason. Heavy is the crown. It is. But heavy is the reward as well. So move forward in your journey with honor for what has been and make space for what can be. But there is always a silver lining in the sadness, in the grief, in the pain, and in the heartbreak, and how you choose to put the pieces back together, and how you choose to align with what you now know. And the experience that you've had is your business. But just know that there are people around you that are watching, and they are watching how you move and how you show up and how you love yourself or lack thereof. And there's also some people that's waiting to see you fall off and count you out so you can be humbled. So what are you going to do? We know that chapter was hard. We know that that loss was hard. Are you going to unpack there? And that doesn't make you honor your dead any less. It doesn't make you honor your loved ones that are no longer around any less or love them any less. It just means that you still have to live. And sometimes you're tasked with needing to live for them and live out loud. So show up and be able to embrace change, embrace winter the same way that you embrace summer, and allow yourself to do so with full knowing that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay through this experience, and you're going to heal, and you're going to become better, and you're going to expand in your consciousness and in your self-awareness and in your emotional intelligence as well. And you're going to keep acquiring tools in your tool bag to make you the best version of yourself that you can be. So I need you to shift your perception on things that you can't change. There's a silver lining in everything. There's wisdom in everything. The man that knows a thing knows that he knows nothing at all. I don't know who said it, but I heard it and I like it. So, cousin, shift your perspective, boo. It's hard out here for us all. But move forward knowing that you are a chosen one and knowing that you got this. Your guides waited for you to be able to step into this position of power. So show up shamelessly, authentically, and continue to become your ancestors and your loved ones' wildest dreams, and continue to make those who were preying on your downfall and thought you would fall off when things wasn't going right, continue to make them sick. Continue to show up in your divine favor. Continue to show up cultivating your peace and in your healing and shifting your own narrative. I'm so proud of you, cousin. I don't know what else to say. I'm so proud of you. And the fact that you're even here with me today shows how dedicated you truly are to your healing. So, as you can see, this ain't therapy, but it feels like it a podcast. It's not perfect, but we're going to keep growing in it, and we're going to keep showing up. We're going to maintain the commitments that we've made to ourselves and to one another. And thank you so much. Thank you so much, cousin, for stopping by for our very first episode of This Ain't Therapy, but it feels like it a podcast where we find the silver lining in grief too. I love you. I'll see you soon. You take care of yourself, cousin. Until the next go round.